The India Syndrome. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, and one of my great subscribers sent me a message saying, Jeff, what do you make of the India Syndrome? And to be frank with you, before they sent me this message, I had not heard of it, but having looked it up and read it, it seems to me something to be very interesting to talk about, and even more so, I think it is a great warning and a great chance for us to understand the reality of spiritual work and spiritual quest, if you will. And we do have the new I Am Divine, I'm Sovereign, I'm Free t-shirt. But to me, it's a great warning and a great wake up signal for us all. Let's take a look at what the India Syndrome is. And this comes from strangesyndromes.blogspot.com. India Syndrome. So India Syndrome is said to be a delusion when large numbers of Western tourists, who are typically truth seekers and spiritualists, they have this romanticized idea of India as the home of spirituality. Romanticized ideas about spiritual places. Pick up on that. Westerners have been exploring Indian spirituality since the late 19th century, and they started traveling to the country in large numbers after the Beatles visited Rishikesh in 1968 to study under Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, I believe. And in 2010, almost 6 million people traveled to India. And a lot of them traveled to mysterious and mystic India to seek enlightenment. And you can actually find corpses just laying around like that. But what they find is an overcrowded country filled with noises, pollutions, heavy traffic, and smells that range from enticing to downright vomit-inducing. And what happens is the difference between the reality and the expectation of the visitors can result in many of them suffering from delusions and episodes of schizophrenia. As a result, many have been admitted to psychiatric wards because of their mental sufferings, and there's even been deaths associated with this India Syndrome. It can be very, very dangerous. Now we're coming from the confluencecountdown.com. Something else to be wary of, India Syndrome, from the confluencecountdown.com. It can be very, very dangerous. People are drawn by the powers of dedicated practitioners, yogis who can levitate, breathe for months while entombed underground, melt giant swaths of snow with their body heat, believing that they too will be able to do extraordinary things. And surely just one trip to India and a 1-hour session with one of these guys will make you superhuman. Keep that in mind. And it is a quest to become superhuman. And culture shock, emotional isolation, drugs, keep that in mind, and the physical toll of hardcore meditation can cause Westerners to lose their bearings. Seemingly, they get out of bed one day, discover the lost continent of Lemuria, the end of the world's nigh, or they've awakened their third eye. Most recover, but some become permanently delusional. A few vanish or even turn up dead. Kalyan Sadchev, I'm not sure I pronounced that very wrong, Sakdev, medical director of Privat Hospital in New Delhi, says his facility admits about 100 delusional Westerners a year. Now, some may think delusional Westerners is redundant, but many of them have been practicing yoga around the clock. There's a physical side of yoga and the psychic side, and some people get it all out of order. People can get aggressive even if they haven't taken any drugs. His treatment tends to be simple. Get them the hell out of India. Well, no, he said send them home as soon as possible. People come with acute psychotic symptoms, but you put them on a plane and they're completely fine. Sunil Mittal, head of the psych unit at Cosmos Institute for Mental Health and Behavioral Services Sciences in New Delhi, had to send the police to retrieve a California woman who overstayed her visa and refused to leave an ashram outside Rishikesh, which was where the Beatles went. She danced erotically in the courtyard each night for the yogis and was often observed in a trance-like state. His prescription for her was also a return flight home. Wow. 21-year-old woman jumped to her death after writing in her journal. Lots of crazy people, or people that go over there and get crazy. And of course the author asked the right question. Was being in India what caused someone to get unhinged, or was the fact that the person was already unhinged and just happened to get it right there? India is perhaps our last exotic spiritual frontier. Keep that in mind. And similar types of syndromes have a long history. So obviously there's a bunch of silly Westerners, and I don't think they're all from the United States. We get people from all the Western countries heading over to India because they're going to become the next great guru. They're going to unlock the mysteries of spirituality, and there's nothing wrong with seeking that. There's nothing wrong with wanting that. But any rational, reasonable person, and maybe those are the two big problems, you can't believe that you can just go to a place and all of a sudden become spiritual. It's a shortcut mentality, a microwave mentality that says, oh, let me go to India and that will make me spiritual. It's the same mindset that says, let me do an ayahuasca ceremony and that will make me spiritual. Let me do some DMT and that will teach me the secrets of the universe. Let me take a peyote and that will make me a spiritual giant. Instead of doing the hours of dedication, months, even years of meditation, sun gazing, studying ancient texts, doing the hard, although incredibly rewarding and interesting spiritual work, has become rather unvogue. We want to go to a tea ceremony. We want to go to India. We want to go to Sedona. We want to go to Peru. And we want to take a pill, drink a drink, shoot something into our veins, and all of a sudden, boom, have all the answers of spirituality. Do you really think that's the way it works? It is this typically Western microwave mentality, this shortcut mentality that causes many people to wind up in psych wards, hospitals, or to just wind up with permanent delusions and psychoses and maybe even spiritual entanglements and or attachments. True spirituality takes a while. True spirituality takes work within. And here it is again, this whole idea of externalizing. If I can just find somebody that'll tell me what to do, if I can just find something I can drink, find something I can take, find someplace I can go. And the same with the astral realm. If I can just get into the astral realm, all my questions will be answered. And it's like people running to India before they're ready, people running to the astral before they're ready. And I'm here to tell you folks that you need to be ready, you need to have work, you need to have preparation, you need to have a high level of spiritual maturity before you attempt to go into the astral realm, before you get on a plane and go to India or Sedona or Peru or anywhere else, before you pay some of these half-baked, back of the National Enquirer, $99.95 shaman to give you some ayahuasca, some peyote, or some DMT, or some mushrooms. You ought to think again, have I done the work? Have I plumbed the depths of my own spirituality? So Jeff, are you saying that none of that should ever be used? I'm saying that those are tools that, and I'm still very, very ambivalent on it, leaning towards the don't do it side, I'll be frank with you. But those I would see as tools for people in high stages of development to take that next step. People with great spiritual understanding, spiritual discipline, and possessed of spiritual techniques and knowledge. Because you will find yourself in places that you've never been before, and if you don't know how to navigate them, you just might get your ass kicked. And if you're in a spiritual place, getting your ass kicked might be more than just taking a physical beating. Now, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just trying to give you what's up. It's become vogue, it's become popular, but that doesn't make it any less dangerous. And there's a lot of people out there that'll take your $100, your $200, and send you on a trip. But they probably don't know much more than you do. So be careful. Know who you're working with, know who you're working through, know where you're going, know what you're doing, and ask yourself honestly, have I really done the work, or am I just trying to use this as a shortcut? Don't wind up as another person, as a statistic in the India syndrome. Don't wind up as another person that has a terrible experience. And don't wind up as another person that wasted $200 and got nothing but sick to their stomach. Because these things are best done when you're prepared. These things are best done when you have plumbed and searched and gone through everything possible on a spiritual state and spiritual process, and might be looking for one last thing or one thing to get you over to another level or to answer a question you've been pondering for years. My advice to you is don't run to India looking for enlightenment. Don't run to a tea, a drink, a pill, a substance looking for enlightenment. Go inside. Learn yourself. Trust yourself. Plumb yourself. Forget the astral realm. Go to the internal realm. And you just may find yourself there by implication. But you've got to know what you're doing. And you've got to know how to act, how to behave, how to protect yourself, how to navigate. So the India syndrome should serve as a nice warning to us of, hey, it's not a place. It's not a pill, it's not a tea, it's me. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, trying to help you unwind your mind, trying to help you unindoctrinate yourself, trying to help you guide your own spirit, be your own guru, and master your own ascension. And that means it's not people, it's not places, it's not plants, it's not substances. It's you. Be excellent to yourself, so we can all be excellent to each other.